Hey, what's up? What's up? Back at it once again. The Coast Get Fun Day, kicking it for you and for yours. You know what I'm saying? And before I get into this, I give much love to my ancestors for giving me the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And I give out a shout out to y'all for those looking, watching, doing what, making it do what it do. Now, this here came to me by surprise through a little argument I got in, a little spat I got into online and whatnot. Now, I did not know this. You know what I'm saying? Basically about the Chaldean community in Detroit. You know, the Chaldeans are the so-called Iraqi Christians. And they talk about how they run Detroit and how they run the state of Michigan, blase splee, and they got all this money. You know, they do all the distributing of the goods, and the black community should just shut up and just take it. But let's look where they got their money from. Let's see where they got these people, the Chaldeans, got some of their money from. Saddam Hussein's key to the city of Detroit. This guy got the keys to the city of Detroit. Saddam Hussein. Sacred Heart Chaldean Church, just out like an overgrown shed on the street of abandoned shops with names like Happiness Club and American Store. 30-odd years ago, Saddam Hussein donated nearly $500,000 to fund the church and cultural center across the street, which now serves the largest population of Catholic Iraqis outside the Middle East. For years, the squat wooden church was a gathering place for new immigrants, many of whom had come to Detroit's east side precisely to escape Hussein. The church pastor, Jacob Yasso, calls the former Iraqi president a generous, warm man who just let too much power go to his head. Yasso met Hussein in 1979 at a banquet in Baghdad, where the pastor gave a speech commending the president for his kindness to Christians. Saddam was 100% American then, he says. He arranged for the government to pay for my trip and for me to stay at the best hotels in Baghdad. After learning that Yasso Michigan Paris was in the red, Hussein promptly wrote a check, the first of two, for $250,000. After Yasso's triumphant return, an influential member of his flock convinced Coleman A. Young, the controversial mayor of Detroit at the time, to give Hussein the key to the city. Young, a cheerful Puerto Rican figure who had become the city's first black mayor in 1974, displayed little interest in international politics. He had a habit of dismissing world leaders with the names like mean sucker or old prune face. Though, to be fair, he also used that language on his suburban counterparts. Young handed out more than 100 keys in his 20 years as mayor. He once called it a ritual overloaded with meaning, and it's unlikely that he gave much thought to making Hussein an honorary citizen. But the dirty keys was important to many Detroit Chaldeans, who saw it as a reward for their hard work and a sign for their commitment to the city. Young didn't give a damn about anything outside Detroit, says Amir Donham, former publisher of the Chaldean Detroit Times. The gift was for us, not Hussein. He was proud of us. Today, there are over 120,000 Chaldeans in southeastern Michigan. Like other Iraqis, indeed, like other groups that ended up here, Chaldeans were drawn to the area by the auto industry in the first half of the 20th century. Though the majority of them are no longer live in Detroit proper, they own most of the grocery stores, corner, and liquor stores in the city and have taken over businesses from the party whites before and especially after the 1967 riots. They promote themselves as model citizens, patriotic entrepreneurs, and family-oriented conservatives. To make themselves appealing to their neighbors, the Chaldean community distributes a brochure to business partners, city leaders, and schools, telling their history and their entrepreneurialism and featuring a collage of images of Chaldeans at work. A priest, a U.S. soldier, a supermarket owner reaching into his freezer. Since the American invasion of 2003, more than half of Iraq remaining Christians have left. Many of them have bound for Michigan. There is talk of Detroit becoming a permanent Chaldean city in exile. Area leaders have requested that the Patriarch of Babylon protect himself by transferring headquarters based in Iraq for over 500 years. He has declined repeatedly. So they're trying to move the church, the Chaldean church, sidebar. They're trying to move the Chaldean church in Iraq. the patriarch of Babylon, and trying to move it to Detroit. That's how much they took over. Last summer, the Chaldean Mother Church of God purchased 160 acres from the city of Detroit to use as a summer camp for Chaldean children. On the grounds, a new church was sported a replica of the shrines of St. George's. The original is grabbed in the side of a mountain near Mosul. This spring, the first ever Chaldean museum is set to open, which traces people's history from ancient Mesopotamia to the vacant strip of malls of outer Detroit. There is an element of Chaldean existentialism. Most Chaldeans plainly define themselves not as Arab. The language they speak, or those who still speak it at least, is Aramaic, the language spoken by Jesus. The Assyrians, their ancestors, are numbered among the earliest Christians who supposedly converted in the first century by way of Apostle Thomas on his way to India. When the Passion of Christ came out, some of the members of the Chaldean community were offended that the reporters kept referring to Aramaic as a dead language. Others complained about Jesus' accent. More ambitious Chaldean nationalists, nothing more if not nimble, will tell you that their ancestors are both the American Indians of Iraq, and the inventors of writing, astronomy, irrigation, the number zero, bronze weaponry, and beer. Thousands of Iraqi refugees, many of them Chaldean, are expected in Michigan in the coming years. Jacob also hopes the influx of immigrants will help renegade his church, which is now attended exclusively by the elderly. But for Detroit's old Chaldean town, as for the city itself, the prospects is not good. Detroit population down to its size it was in the 1920s when the first Chaldeans came to America by sea. Among the reigning participants of the Sacred Heart Church, there is a sense of nostalgia that they acknowledge they were desperate, even preserve. There hasn't been such a fondness for Hussein for decades. Yashu speaks bitterly about the war and American unwillingness to even think about compromising with his former friend and ally. Saddam was good for Christians, he said. Now he's married and look what happens. He keeps a framed photo above his desk of himself and other Michigan delegates handing Hussein the keys. Yasser never found out what became of it. Maybe asked the U.S. she laughs hoarsely. Maybe they recovered it in one of his palaces. Now, as you see, they got their own church over here. I'm not knocking them for that. You know what I'm saying? They TCB and they taking care of business. But they can't act like the loans they got from Saddam Hussein and other people in the Middle East. Some who the Americans call tyrants, the white, you know what I'm saying, the American government called tyrants, gave them money and stuff like that to build these communities in their city. You know what I'm saying? Saddam was just one of them. They gave some more people money that too. And plus, if they knew the area like that, you know what I'm saying, many people don't know it's a black population in Iraq. If they was with Saddam, they was down with cracking that black population in Iraq and Basra. Many people don't talk about that, you know what I'm saying? But that's how it go. These people that got in, they got the money. Like I said, as the article said, they buy grocery stores and all type of stuff like that, you know. That's what they own. And that's how they get down, you know what I'm saying? They promote themselves as model citizen, patriotic entrepreneurs and family oriented. You know, I'm not they TCB and they take care of business, but they take care of their business off of black money. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, the city of Detroit is 85% black, and they take their money and they go take it to their little enclaves and want it to get down. You know what I'm saying? So that's how this stuff is going. Anyway, this is Coach Gift Fun Day. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. You can show some love and donate to the moon with the Cash App iskosi. You know, do it what it does. Much love to you and peace. Hey, remember always, before I go, always take care of your people, man. The reason why these people's getting ahead of us, I'm talking about African people worldwide, is because they take care, they look out for each other. You know what I'm saying? They don't let that stuff get in front of them. No religious type stuff or light skin, dark skin. So I take care of your people, man. Peace.